All right. Okay. Welcome, everybody. Hey, welcome to another episode. What I wanted to do today was we are live on Instagram. We are live on Facebook. We're live inside the Side Business Builders group. We're live on YouTube as well and on LinkedIn. I want to say hello to everyone. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. My name is Chris Williams. If you're inside of my group or if you're within one of our portals, I want to say thank you. Thank you guys so much for being here. My name is Chris Williams. As I said, I help ambitious employees develop their side business in a 5-day challenge. So if you want to know more about that, you can go to growyoursidebusiness.com. Growyoursidebusiness.com will tell you all about that particular challenge. And I've got one coming up in November. But, you know, as I was putting together this weekend, I had been traveling all weekend and got to meet some really incredible people, did a radio interview, and got to have some great conversations. One of the things that has been coming up for me lately has been all about the just some retrospective, right? Like, I think it's really good for all of us every now and then to like just take some time out and just really think back to like where you are. Think back to what's been going on in your life. Take like a moment and go, wow, look how fast this year has gone, right? What are some milestones that have happened in this year for you? And so as you watch this video, if you like this, feel free to share, like, subscribe, let somebody else know that we have a community here for you. If you're building your side business and you're looking to develop it, I'm going to help you do that. I've been able to do that myself successfully with multiple side businesses and then eventually full-time entrepreneurship. And I love being able to coach corporate professionals how to be able to do so. So there's 4 things that I want to talk about today. And this video won't be long, but hopefully it'll be effective, that I wish I knew before the money. I really do. Like, um, every time I think about this, I start thinking through like, man, I wish somebody would have told me, right? Like, I really wish somebody would have helped me understand it. And I think we probably all say that at a certain point, right? Like, there's milestones that we hit in life, and they were like, man, I wish I would have known this. I wish I could have told my 20-year-old self that. I wish I could have told my 30-year-old self that. I wish I could have told my 40-year-old self that, right? And I think the key is the reason why we feel that way is because, truthfully speaking, you don't know until you arrive there, right? Like, you really do not know until you get there. So I want to give you the 4 things that I realized, that I just wish I knew before the money. And by the way, let me say, the money I'm saying is, let it be relevant to your world. If the money for you is you finally got that, bump in pay raise at your job, awesome. If that money for you is maybe you finally cracked the $100,000 salary in your role, awesome. If for you it's $100,000 in your side business, great. But I think all of us, when we start to come into consistent money, I think there's some learnings that we have along the way. Fair, right? So I want to tell you the first one. The first one is, I wish I would have known this at the very beginning. And I will say this. I think it's really important, man. This has been so crucial to me. I've had to take full ownership. And when I say full ownership, everybody, I really mean that. Like, I really do mean full ownership. Why is full ownership so important? Because I think one of the most interesting things that I've learned throughout, building a business, learning from people, and getting to talk to a lot of different people is, some people end up losing what they have because they never were willing to take full responsibility, even in the moment of getting it, right? So what do I mean by that? I remember, I told this story in a previous video. If you guys want to go check that one out, go check out my last video. I was talking about how I worked for, there was a time I lived in Atlanta, Georgia, and I was working my business, and I was working for Kirby Vacuums, right? Like, I don't know if you guys remember Kirby Vacuums, but I was working Kirby Vacuums, right? And the thing about working that role was, I heard about this thing. I went to this little office. I learned about Kirby Vacuums. I signed up to be able to sell these Kirby Vacuums, right? That's something I did, a little hustle that I had, right? The problem was, at the time, all I saw was just another trade your time for money opportunity. That's all I saw, right? Oh, you're going to pay me for this much to go talk to some people? Cool. Well, I don't mind talking to people and I like getting paid. Sign me up, right? And I remember, I told the full story before, but basically, I used to ride around neighborhoods in Atlanta, and my key target was brand new neighborhoods where people were moving in. Go introduce myself, and my objective was to get in the house, right? So in the last video, I talked about like, what is the steps of dating? Like, why is that so irrelevant into you building your business? Well, if you don't understand, if you know how to date and you grabbed your spouse or you grabbed your boo thing right now, then you understand that's the same thing you got to do in order to build your business. It's the one selling secret that most people don't want you to know, is that you got to be able to sell to them more than once, right? In a marriage, you should still be dating each other. Why? Because I should be renewing my membership, right, to this relationship more than once. And so the point is that I remember, going in these houses, right, and I'm doing these demonstrations with this vacuum. My whole goal was to sell a vacuum. Well, my job was to show them that if they don't buy this vacuum, there's already dirt accumulated on the ground, and especially if they had a little baby, oh, that was game time. It was time for me to go do work, right? But I didn't take full ownership in the relationship and the contract that I signed. So I got swindled out of like $6,000 that I had earned, because one particular month I had sold like a lot of Kirby vacuums. My commission was supposed to be like around $6,000. And I headed to the office one morning really excited to pick up my check, and the guy wasn't there. I got swindled, right? And I was willing to blame him, right? I blamed the person. I blamed everyone outside of me for not making sure I understood and had things in place to protect myself, to get the money that I was owed. I didn't read the contract. I just saw an opportunity, right? I didn't take the time to truly understand what I was signing up for. I never even looked at the character of the person, right? So I spent more time being angry about the situation than I did learning the lesson. Listen, you got to take full ownership. If you were building your side business, if you were working your day job, you have to take full ownership of the life that you are choosing. You have to take full ownership in the job that you signed a contract with. You cannot get upset at the job for them creating assumptions, having demand, and putting more on you than you really want to do if you've never set boundaries. But yet, if you have a relationship and think about it this way: if you're in a bad relationship and you know you don't like the feeling of the way the relationship is treating you, why then would you go to work and get the same thing? Right? My point is, we have to start taking full ownership. Full ownership. If I sign my name on the dotted line of that contract with that employer, then it is my responsibility for everything that comes with that role. And if there are assumptions that aren't spoken of that I am just falling into, then I got to be the person to address the elephant in the room. I got to be willing to go to my manager and say, hey, listen, I know y'all send emails at 7, 8, 9, and 10 o'clock at night, and y'all respond. I'm sorry, but I'm not doing that. When I leave here at 5 or 5:30, I am spending time with my family, so I will not be responding to emails after 5:30. Like, I'm saying you need to negotiate your life in such a way that you are taking full ownership of your life, okay? That's the first one. This is just one of, these are just the things, and you tell me, put a comment down in the chat of the things that you learned that you wish you had known before the money. What's something that you learned over time that you're like, man, I wish I would have known this before I got some money in my hands, right? Because I think all of the experience is good. I'm just giving you these 4. Here's the second one for me. This one is really important. Whoever you are right now, it will be amplified. In fact, let me write this in a different way here. I just want you to know that whoever you are right now, it's going to be amplified. And I'm saying exponentially. Why is this important? Because one thing I wish I had understood when I was building my business when I got higher up in corporate, when I started making more money, what I didn't do was I didn't take the time to develop Chris. I didn't take the time really to develop my understanding of what the real purpose of money, right? I didn't. I worked my job and I was so excited about getting a higher bump in pay. But what I never understood was, well, what's the real purpose of money? Because in my poor mind, it was to, just kind of stay where I am. In my middle class lifestyle mind, it was to buy more stuff. But in my more wealthy mind, I realized it was to buy back my time. That's the real play of having money. And what you do is you use money to buy more of your time back instead of going to buy more stuff. Right? I didn't understand that at that time. And so what happened as a result is because who I really already was got amplified by the lack of knowledge that I wasn't willing to accept. Well, guess what happens? Well, you end up losing a lot of money and you end up wasting a lot of time on dumb stuff. That's basically what I did, right? Hey, IG, thank you guys so much for watching. I am also on YouTube. Go to the Grow Your Side Business page on YouTube. I'm going to shut you guys off, but we're going to continue over on YouTube. Come check us out. So the key is that what I didn't understand was I didn't understand that part of my downfall was who I already was, the lack of understanding of money, the way I saw material things, the impulse buying behaviors that I had. How many of you suffer from some of these, right? The impulse behaviors that I had, the inability to let go of some things. It started costing me the very extra money that I had. Why? Because what I didn't realize was whoever I was being amplified because I just ran into the money, right? So write down in the comments for me, like I said, whoever you are will be amplified. What are some things that you had some lessons learned as you were building out, or making extra money when you finally came into some money? What are some things that you started learning over time, right? About yourself that got amplified that you were like, oh, I got to solve for that, right? I got to fix that. Here's the third one. This third one is you have to change the people you hang with. And this is not a joke, actually. This is probably one of the most serious things I wish I knew before the money. And the reason why I wish I knew this third one, man, I wish I knew. Well, let's put it this way. I heard about it talked about before, but what I didn't do was put a plan in place. Meaning first of all, I never saw myself making any more money. So I never even planned for it, right? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? And so what happened as a result was people, because of their lack of financial revenue streams, want to make you feel guilty for having yours and want to pull on what you now have. And so you get more caught up in their tornado of doubt and fear and lack than working yourself forward. Because, I'm going to tell you something. It's something my business coach told me, and it's so true. I can't help you if I'm in the exact same place. I can't. I cannot really help you if I'm in the exact same place. And unfortunately, too many of us are taking advice from people who are either in the same place or they're not even thinking that way, right? But because we've allowed them to be the biggest influence on our lives, unfortunately, they will literally talk us out of millions. I personally believe that we are all designed to be able to have money flowing in our family and our heritage and in our lineage way more than we're experiencing probably for many of us today. I personally believe that. Like, I literally believe we're supposed to have more. I do think, though, part of the challenge is with getting more is we are surrounding ourselves with people whose their default is lack. And unfortunately, when we think of getting more money or we think of having more, we think in terms of, well, you got to wait this long and then this has got to happen and you got to have this person in your life. And I'm telling you right now, all of us were built with a level of creativity and a foundation of things that were built that were pre-wired so that you could have money flowing to you. And some people may say, well, Chris, I've seen a lot of those get rich quick schemes and I'm not falling for any of those things. Cool. Well, how many of us fell for the get rich slow scheme? A lot of us. Because we were told to work 40 years of our lives. And for 40 years of our lives, we would work 40 hours a week. And for 40 years of our lives, we work 40 hours a week. When we're able to retire, we're going to only be able to get 40% of the money we actually made at our job. That's the 40-40-40 club. And I'm sorry, but if y'all tell me if I'm lying, that sounds like a get rich slow scheme, of which, by the way, a lot of us have been sold on. Now, I'm not mad at jobs. I'm not here to bash employment. I'm not into that. My point is, because we've accepted that, we've never opened our lives and our skill set and our creativity to go earn additional income. So we spend our entire lives only living one way when you were meant for abundance. And in between that one way and what's really possible and you're capable of in your life lies your frustration, right? But because we never changed our circle, or when you finally get to some money, you forgot I should have changed my circle, even what you have will be robbed from you, right? That's number 3. Here's number 4. And number four is probably one of the most important things that I am still learning, is to get emotionally regulated. What do I mean by emotionally regulated? I think too many of us are struggling right now financially, emotionally, spiritually, because we've got too many loud voices that we listen to. We let the news decide for us exactly how we're going to feel just because they start at 4 a.m. We let them dictate our emotional start of our day because we listen to every single thing and we take to heart all the things that they're saying. Pick your flavor, right? Like, I'm not afraid, and I'm not afraid of anything, but I will say most of the fear that is portrayed to us about being in the streets and gang life and this, that, and the third. No, I'm portrayed by the biggest gangs of the planet. Picking red or blue, always having to choose a side. Why do I have to choose a side? Why can't I just choose what's right? I know that may be a little hard for some people, but my point is, it's easy to keep people divided and create followers if you never allow people to think in terms of what makes most sense for this particular situation. That's all I'm saying. And the more infighting we do, the less emotionally regulated you're actually going to be. Because it's always about choosing a side. It's never about listening to the other perspective. Coming into a conversation of disagreement, knowing that as humans we should disagree, but we should disagree with the intent of understanding. To me, that's an adult. To me, that's the highest form of respect I can show somebody who I don't necessarily agree with, is understanding. And I just choose to respect people to understand them. So I will ask, so I don't mind somebody not believing the way I believe. That's cool. But let's at least understand each other why we believe what we believe. That makes a better life for all of us. I don't have to fight you because you believe differently than I do. No, let's just show each other the highest version of respect for me is understanding. And I think that's important. But what happens is when we get some money because we never learned to emotionally regulate, man, we are tossed to and fro by the numbers, by the amount, by the lack, by the how much what it costs to do things, right? Like we never got emotionally regulated. And I wish this was something I knew before the money. Because it's taken me a while to learn this thing. And it's really a skill, right? Like I've talked to some very successful friends of mine, and recently a few of them have come into some, amazing like milestones in their business. Amazing moments where just things are taking off. Amazing achievements for them and their family that's going to totally change their financial picture. And one of my friends, David, I was asking him about a particular milestone that he hit, and he was like, to be honest with you, I don't really get too happy when something good happens, but also I don't get too low when something bad happens. It's all a part of being an entrepreneur. And how many of us are wasting hours being upset? How many of us have wasted decades still celebrating the fact that you were an all-pro defensive lineman in 1945, 1992, right? Like we hold on to these extremes for too long. And what I found is the more emotionally regulated I am, the more I can keep my eye on the ball. That's what I figured out. I figured that out. I didn't realize it, but I finally figured it out. So listen, I hope these 4 help you. Again, I'll just cover these briefly. 4 things I wish I knew before I had money. Take full ownership of who you are. Whomever you are, it will be amplified. That's number 2. Number 3, you have to change your circle. And number 4, get emotionally regulated. Listen, if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, share, like, and subscribe to this channel. My job is to really help you continue to grow. I help ambitious employees develop their side business in a 5-day challenge. If you want to know more about that challenge, go to growyoursidebusiness.com. All of the information is there. Jump into the next challenge. I got a challenge coming up here soon. I'm going to be able to help you develop your side business. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great, incredible day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.